Hi there everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe. I'm Phil Siegel and I'm thrilled to have everybody with me today. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate how much the channel is growing and I hope you continue to enjoy the content. Lots of things going on the bench, but today we're focused on the EVA Pod, the 1/8 scale Moebius Pod from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Let's dive in. Last time we were together, I went through all the components and showed you all of the aftermarket parts that are available for this particular kit. And I'll have a list of all of the parts that I ultimately used on my website, which is sprueverse.com. Please check that out. I've got lots of interesting information about paint and glue and other things that are going on. So lots to do there. What I've done is I've continued to sort of plow ahead, and with this particular kit you start with the interior module and then you work your way out to the shell. And what I actually like about these cylindrical type of kits is when you're going to wire them, there seems to be plenty of room inside the kit to hide all the wires. So it makes it a lot easier, especially for someone like me who has a difficult time with getting my fingers in things. So that is sort of a plus for me. One of the minuses with this kit, I thought, was I didn't understand why the interior module, which is all the control surfaces inside, weren't made of clear plastic. Because when it comes to light blocking and lighting this, the opacity of the plastic that was used made it a little difficult for me. Now we'll get a nice result, but I think clear plastic would have been the way to go. But hey, there you go, just one man's opinion. So what I've done is, and I'll sort of pull this into frame here, is I have continued to sort of continue my build, and what it asked you to do was put all these panels together. I used the photo etch set from Paragraphics, which made a great light blocker, and then I've also used the transparency kit. Now there was a transparency kit for the screens and some of the control surfaces that came from Yay Monsters. I've not used that. It seemed to be identical to the one that came with Paragraphics, so I didn't use it. Also, what comes with the Yay Monsters kit is light blocking vinyl, which you do not need if you have the photo etch set from Paragraphics. So there are some redundancies, but look, I think value for money. The Yay Monsters acrylic panels are good. I am using them, and they're going on quite nicely. You can see in the back here that they're really holding my 3mm and 5mm bulbs when I'm using them. But I also chose to use some LED strips, and that was in the Tenor Controls lighting kit. Now, full confession here, I bought two lighting kits. I bought the Voodoo Effects kit from Randy Newbert, who's a friend, and he has a quality product. But his kit is all LEDs. Now he's not wrong in doing that, because I do think with the plastic that is in this kit, the LEDs are probably a little brighter. The disadvantage is, and I learned this as we go along, you can't just change colors, obviously. You need to now put in some light screens, and so to hide the various different colors. So I would say, and I know this is more expensive, if the Yay Monsters team wanted to sort of up their game, they would give you some standoffs that were made out of black plastic so that you could just glue those down and you could isolate the various different colors. But having not to build 20 little light boxes out of plastic sheeting appealed to me. Now, I know there's a lot of hobbyists out there who will roll their eyes and say, easy for me to do, and I say, absolutely, and I do that too. But I wanted to see if this particular method was a good way to go. And as I always say, we are a test kitchen here, so we try things, success or failure, and we'll let you know how we got along with it so that you can make decisions about whether or not this is something that you want to use on your kit. I will say, if you're going to use the Yay Monsters acrylic lighting aids, it does allow you to focus a little more on your lighting and not spend so much time on doing all kinds of other things. It's also a lot cleaner. So anyway, I would say mixed result, but a thumbs up. I hope that's not confusing, but that would be Spruverse's opinion on the Yay Monsters acrylic aftermarket kit. Now, what we have, what I've started to do is I've gone around and I've started to add my lights to this. And I'm not entirely sure. I can kill these lights here for just a second and show you a little bit of the results here. I'm not set up completely, but you can see that they go on, and it's quite effective. It's quite an effective result. So you get your screens lit up. I've got some blue lights going and some white lights. Some are on and some are off. They're not all on. Now, the reason why I've chose to do that, let me get my bench lights back on for you. The reason why I chose to do that, and let me give you a quick fill cam, because without fill cam, life would not be the same, would it really? So here we are, all up close and personal, which always scares me because, you know, you're seeing all of the good and the bad. But I'm really enjoying this, and I love the clusters, and I think that you know, it's coming together really nicely. And I think once I've cleaned it up and done a little more light blocking, it's going to be fine. One other thing I'll quickly say is that the decal set that comes with the kit is a little prickly. This particular one was. Now, I don't know if you get some success with others and some you don't. What I chose to do was I took the photo etch from Paragraphics. I painted it in a gloss black, let it dry for a couple of days. And then what I did was I took the decals from the set, slid them over the flat surface, lined them up the best as I could, let them dry, and then I gave them a good coat of micro sol, which is the red. That's the softening agent. The set is the one that helps it kind of adhere to surfaces. I didn't seem to need that. They all laid down quite nicely. However, when they started to dry, I noticed that on the very fine edges of the photo etch where they create frames for you, and I'll show you that on this kit here. I'm talking about the dividers between the screens and some of the other areas like the edges where they come together. They did dry out and crimple up. Now, I was able to put some of them back, but some I was not. Now, to the naked eye, I think this looks pretty good. But when you start getting up close and personal, you notice that some of the decals did delaminate, and I will clean those up with a little touch-up paint and some light blocking. So there's some work to do there. But getting back to the idea that not all the lights are on, is because I have this thing of beauty right here. This is 2001, The Lost Science from Adam Johnson. Now, this particular book was credited in the construction of the Moebius model. So I did some online investigating, and this is I think out of print now and bloody expensive. But again, here at Sprueverse, we spare no expense to show you and bring you things that are a lot of fun, and this is a lot of fun. Crying shame, it's either too expensive to print more or the publisher went out of business, I don't know. But this should be available for like 25, 30 bucks. Instead, you'll find that you can pay several $100s for a copy of this. But the genius of it is, if you go to the section that talks about the EVA Pod interior details, holy cow, do you get a wake-up call. It's fantastic. You get so many little interesting details that are really helpful in terms of what switches were, how they worked, what they looked like, what color they were. Now, sadly, there's only a couple of pictures that are in color. Everything else is in black and white. But you do get enough of a sense of it. And obviously, you can go to the film and get film grabs. But this is really exceptional because this really goes to the heart of how this production was put together and who put it together and the thought process behind it, which was incredibly detailed and really well done. And so there's several pages dedicated to the interior of the pod. And so it's really helpful in terms of picking out colors and textures and knowing what things were. There also is right here a really exceptional close-up of one of the details, which clearly shows you all of the printing on the buttons. Now, the thing about that, which I thought was really interesting, was, as you know, I decided to pick up the paragraphics set for the button label decals, and here it is. And I tried to incorporate it into the kit. Now, I have put them on several of the buttons. And I'm going to try desperately with PhilCam here to see if I can show you this. I don't know if I can, but I think I can. I think I can. Now, you're going to have to promise me that you're not looking at the schmutz, which the camera is picking up. As long as you promise that you're not going to comment on all the schmutz, I will allow you to look at this with me. But anyway, you can see, and my finger, I'll stick my big fat finger in here, and you can see in the center of the buttons are, I'll try to get a little closer here. Let me show if I can. Hang on here, focus, come on baby. That's a little better. That's a little better. You can see the writing. Anyway, I won't make you suffer through that any longer, I promise. But the point is, from the naked eye, from me looking at it here in the studio, looking down on it, it's awesome. It really adds a little touch of authenticity to this thing that I absolutely love. They are not easy to get on here. They do hunker down really nicely with the microsole. They go down like a charm. But full disclosure, as they come off of this set, because it is white, it's white background on a clear, it's white print, I should say, on clear film. The film is obviously super clear, and its tack is not great. So you need set and sew, microset and microsole to actually place these, and you do get a little bit of time before they start to do the genius of decals and crunch up and tear and do all that stuff. So I would say I got a good result. And I will continue to put the rest of the buttons on because I do like it. You know, I get a kick out of it, and it adds a level of detail that I really like. The panels in the film appear to have a satin finish. I went with a matte finish just because, for me, anything other than a matte finish on something of this scale screams toy to me. You can get away with some gloss on some things, but I don't know, just screamed to me of a toy. All the surfaces were painted with black matte from Humbrol, and all the surfaces were sealed with a matte varnish from Humbrol. Some of the dry brushing is Vallejo paints, but other than that, it's all Humbrol. The floor is called soft chocolate, and I've obviously given that a couple of coats and stained it. Now, the reason why I went with that color is just to add a little bit of contrast to this, but once the dome is on, the doors are on, you're not going to see very much of it anyway. It was just one of those decisions that I made just from purely an aesthetic. Again, you know, this is your model and you get to build it however you choose. So I will continue to finish the lighting so that everything is all put together. And then what I've chosen to do is from Tenor Controls, from Ralph Tenaglia at Tenor Controls, he has an EVA pod kit, and I also picked that up. And what I love about that kit is it comes with a remote control. And now you'll see on my Instagram account, if you want to check it out, a little bit of this in action. It'll have 3 controls so that you can turn all the lights on at once, or you can turn them off and on as you choose. The headlights for the front will be separate from the rest of the control surfaces, but fun to be able to turn this on with a remote and not from a switch somewhere. Although methinks I might have a switch on the finished dais, or for the diorama, or for the base I should say, just for backup, or as Lou Dalmasso says, belts and suspenders. It's true. Cover your backside and make sure things are glued down properly, and you have a backup plan for a backup plan. So I will do that. But it's been a lot of fun. Also, the wire now that I've noticed that's coming in kits, in these lighting kits, from not just from Voodoo Effects but also from Ralph Tenaglia, is getting thinner and thinner and thinner, which is greatly appreciated, and so and it's making it a lot easier to wire these things up. So that's greatly appreciated. As soon as I've got all this lit up, I'll take some finished pictures of that. I'll roll some film and I'll put it on my Instagram account at Sprueverse. Ultimately, there'll be a lot of production photos going to the website. But the next step is to prime, which I'm starting to do, the exterior pieces, because once this shell is complete, it will start to go inside the actual shell, which leads me back one more time to our trusty reference book. And it's been so much fun to go through this, I can't tell you, because not only do you have the EVA pod in here, but you also obviously have the Clipper ship, and you also have the Discovery, but you also have something that I just wanted to talk about very quickly, which is the Ares 1B shuttle. Now, I understand that Moebius Models is coming out with this kit later this year. That's what I understand. Now, I got my information from Cult TV Man, a great site, a great place to get hobbying supplies and models. And he's in the know, obviously, because he's a distributor. So I do think this is on the list. I have a version of this, but I have a garage kit version of it, which I've never really bothered to take out and play. The scale of it is a little too small for me. But the Ares shuttle, if we remember, is a really fun ship if you're into GAC and weathering and that sort of a thing. Obviously has a lot more weathering on it, interestingly enough, than here's one last look at it here. As you can see, it has a lot more weathering on it than the EVA Pod, which I suppose in space obviously doesn't get dirty, as we all know. So going back to my reference pictures, in the one color shot that we have, now bear in mind that when you look at the movie clips, you're actually looking at something that is heavily lit. So sometimes some of these surfaces, especially if they are fiberglass, will take on a sheen, and it'll be, it's not easy to kill that sheen. But as I'm looking, and here's probably a better shot at them, and I think there we go. I'm going to go with a matte paint to do this. Now, obviously it'll get a gloss for all of the decals, and then it'll get another matte. And I may even try a little satin finish, just because it obviously had a very clean look to it. But having said that, to repeat myself, anything that isn't matte to me in this scale looks like a toy. So I've got some things I have to, some challenges I have to deal with. Protecting this piece of plastic, which is the glass for the front. I know from experience this will scratch like crazy. So it might be worth putting a little bit of masking tape over it, low-tack masking tape if you've got any, drafting tape or something like that. Get it over the front of, it won't schmutz up. You can clean it up with, just a little bit of the plexi cleaner that we use, if you need to. But I think that's definitely what I'm going to do. And the other thing is the headlights. Interestingly enough, in the Voodoo Effects kit, they're 3mm bulbs. Now in the EVA kit from Tenor Controls, they're actually nano chips, white nano chips, which I thought was really interesting. So we'll go with those and see what we can, what effect we get. So anyway, lots going on. That is the update. I hope you enjoyed it. The next time you see the model, we should be in relatively decent shape. You'll start to see it all sort of coming together, and I'll have some thoughts for you on the base. Again, this is one of those shows where I just wanted to sort of show you what was on the bench and what I'm, how I'm sort of moving along with this particular kit. I happen to love movie props and movie model miniatures as well. So to have these scale kits in my collection is going to be great, especially sort of a 2001 theme one. And there's several out there, obviously. We know the Moonbus is out there, the Clipper is out there. We know that obviously the EVA Pod is out there. And we know that hopefully, by the end of the summer, we will also have the Ares 1B shuttle out there as well. And that will really, and the Discovery is out there, obviously, as we know. So, really, 2001, I mean, as a movie, I think really got the full Monty when it came to sort of kits. Unusual for films, but obviously this particular film, for a whole bunch of reasons, deserved, I think, the line of kits that came out for it. So anyway, there you go. I'm enjoying this build. It's definitely something I would tackle if I were you. If you like movies, sci-fi movies, and you like things that are a little more in the real space, this is definitely something I would tackle and jump into. If you take your time, you can make a really great model with it. It fits really well. It's not complicated, and as I said, there's a lot of fun aftermarket parts to use on it. So there you go. I will plow on with this. Plenty of other things going on the bench, as you know. My ET build, which I'm doing in conjunction with Wayne Green over at World of Wayne, is coming along. There'll be a big big show coming up on that in the next couple of days. Actually, it will have already aired when you see this. So, but there you go. So anyway, there you go. That's the update for the 1/8 scale Moebius EVA Pod from 2001. And the next time this beauty is on the bench, we should be quite far along. As I said, this is sort of just to let you know where I am on this build. This isn't a complete build series. We will be doing several of those throughout the year. But this is just a project that I wanted to sort of share with you, that I'm building for my own private collection. And I'm really enjoying it. So there you go. As always, thank you for liking and subscribing. Be safe, be well, build something, everybody. And I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.